Hello, this is Justice Backstrom, and welcome back to another video. And today, I'm going to be proving to you that minimum wage is a livable wage. Yes, even in 2025. So, if you ever go online, you'll probably see some Democrat or whatever complaining about minimum wage being too low. Now, usually these people live in states like California or New York that have a state minimum wage, which is much higher than the current federal minimum wage of $7.25. Now, first of all, that proves that they don't understand what a federal minimum wage is. The federal minimum wage is supposed to reflect the lowest paid places in the country, the places where the the lowest paid, but more importantly, the places with the lowest cost of living in the country. And if the cost of living is much higher in certain states, they have the right to raise the minimum wage. First of all, let me also explain why raising the minimum wage doesn't help you. It doesn't help anyone, really. It doesn't help you unless you make, I guess, the actual minimum wage. But if you suppose you're making, I don't know, $10 an hour. All right, you're making $2.75 above minimum wage. Your quality of life is going to be based on your actual wage versus the average wage, right? Now, suppose they raise the minimum wage from $7.25 to $9 an hour, right? Just as an example. Now, your company may or may not give you a raise along with that. But even if they do, it's probably not going to be exactly proportionate to the increase in the minimum wage. So you're already making less than the average wage, but now, since the minimum wage has been raised, the people below you have had a raise. Now you're making further from the, you're making closer to the bottom end of the average wage than you were before. So that doesn't help you. And even if you were already making minimum wage, chances are, one, it's going to result in inflation. Any increase to average income is going to result in an increase in inflation because companies have to pay their employees more, which means they have to charge their customers more. Right. So, essentially, you want to get personal raises. You don't want everyone to get a raise at the same time because that doesn't help you. You want yourself to be recognized for the quality of work you do, and you want to get that raise. Anyways, so, I'm going to be actually fairly generous here, saying that you work full-time minimum wage, but I'm going to estimate down to 80 hours per pay period. Of course, if you get paid every 2 weeks, that's about accurate. But the average 30-day month has about 11 work days per pay period, right? Or 22 work days, which would be again, that would be 88 hours per pay period. So we're estimating down quite a bit here. This right here is a sort of a paycheck calculator. This, you put in your hourly wage, whatever, and it shows what you'll get after taxes and stuff, right? So $536 per pay period. Let's say 2 pay periods per month, which again, underestimating that. That gives you $1,072 a month, right? Pretty low. But again, I'm going to be showing you how this is still a livable wage. Okay, and also, that's what it would be for the first year, but after that first year, you're going to get, you should realistically get certainly all your federal income tax returned. So then it would go up to the 1060 or whatever would be actually more accurate. And again, you shouldn't be working at minimum wage for longer than like a couple months. Like, if you're any good at your job at all, there's no reason you should be stuck at minimum wage. Unless you are too afraid to ask for a raise, which you shouldn't be, because the raise isn't going to ask for itself. Anyways, 1072, again, undersampling what you'd actually be making. Now, I'm going to show you my own expenses for the last month. Alright, here is my, this is my water bill. So, let's get $51.84. Alright. Then, this is my electric bill. So, we'll add $35.61. This is my rent. It says rent and utilities. Just showed you my utilities. That's not actually include, this 814.75 is not actually including my utilities. They might be saying that because it technically includes a, $25 for, Spectrum TV. So if you're one of those people that thinks that entertainment is a necessity, well, there you go. That's included in that as well. Alright, so 902.20. Now, those are the, well, those are the bare necessities. Now, I will say that at my apartment, at least, I don't know how it is with other apartments, in order to sign the lease, I have to show that I make at least twice whatever my monthly rate is going to be. And if that's, if there are other apartments where that's not a thing, then you'd be fine. Or you could have someone co-sign. Again, that part will kind of depend on the apartment. Now, in order to have that apartment, I also need to have my, I need to show proof of renter's insurance. Now, I have a pretty significant discount there. That's like a 75% discount almost. But let's take this 473.90. That's an annual premium, so we'll divide that by 12 to get 39.49. Well, let's just round that up to 39.50. All right. So plus 39.50. Enter 94.7. $94.70. And then, again, I would also disagree that, phone service and internet is a necessity. But let's just add that as well. Let's say, and again, my phone bill is not very good. It's pretty high. So you could find similar coverage probably for half this. But let's take my phone bill, add that to that. So we go plus 79.52. Enter. Alright. Now at this point you're probably thinking, hey, you idiot, you haven't included food yet. And I'll admit, at this point, you're overpaying if you're trying to fit food on a $51 a month basis. Now, you can, technically. Though, again, I would say, first of all, elephant in the room, this is for a single person. If you are making minimum wage, you should not have dependents. But again, $51 a month. My brother lives off probably about $51 a month in food. I know I have personally lived on as little as $20 a week for food. Again, if you're prioritizing your phone bill over food, and also vehicles. All right, that's another thing. You wouldn't be able to afford a vehicle on this, but a vehicle is not a necessity. Okay, you can ride a bike to work. You can walk to work, especially if you live fairly close. I rode a bike to work for the first 4.5 years of my life. Well, 4.5 years of my employment history. I will also say, the apartment that I have, this, wait, I passed it. This 814.75, yeah, that's a 2-bedroom apartment. There's no reason a single person needs a 2-bedroom apartment. So let's say that I had a studio apartment. Alright, so minus, let's be generous and say it's only $150 difference. Alright, that's $871. Alright, $871 out of 1072, and again, that's a low number. Realistically, if you're good with your money, you don't need to pay more than $200 a month for food. And again, if you're actually good with your money, like I said, I've lived off $20 a week for food before. So yeah, it's gonna be freaking tight. But yeah. And again, your phone bill, not a necessity. Sure, most jobs want you to have a phone, but again, there are cheaper options than this. This includes a phone and a hotspot, and there are phone plans out there for like $30 or even $15 a month. So, again, just as our proof of concept, even worst case scenario, there's no reason that if you're good with your money, you shouldn't be able to live off minimum wage. And again, people misunderstand what minimum wage for. Minimum wage isn't for adults, alright? Maybe if you're like a felon that just got out of 10 years of prison, then yeah, you might be stuck working minimum wage. But aside from that, minimum wage is for like high school students, teenagers working their first part-time job. But again, the point is, everybody's wrong. Minimum wage is livable. Anyways, though, minimum wage is livable some places, alright? You can't live on that in, I don't know, LA. You probably wouldn't be able to live on that in Dallas. But again, that's not what minimum wage is for. Minimum wage is to cover the lowest income areas. So, will minimum wage eventually be raised? Yeah, it probably will. And that's probably not actually a good thing. If in a few years inflation is to the point where this is completely unlivable, then sure, freaking raise it, I guess. But again, people misunderstand what minimum wage is for. Anyways, though, that's all I have for this video. And if you think that wants are needs, then you're wrong.